What's up, guys? Brant Mayberry, personal trainer and certified nutritionist, and corrective exercise and behavior change, and all of these things that you don't really care about because you just want to know how to fix you. I wanted to talk today about the gravity problem. Why do we get old? And one of the things that dawned on me recently, especially after working with folks that are in their last 10 years of life, is that old becomes associated with age, but age is really associated with how old you are biologically, not how you feel, not how you are physiologically. And one of the biggest issues with that is the gravity complex. Eventually, when we feel old, what really happens is you're starting to lose the war against gravity. So when I coach my memory care units, I like to bring up the example where we place our foot on the ground. So I'll have them do a leg up, a leg extension. And I say, I'm using specific words here for a reason. Place your foot on the ground as we go down out of that leg extension. And the reason is because you're resisting gravity. And there's a reason that it's important that you resist gravity, aka move more often and do hard things. Because if you're not winning the war against gravity, your problem is not being strong enough to fight the forces of gravity. And the only way to get strong enough, the only way to maintain being strong enough is to do things. So the example that I always use is imagine you're in the International Space Station, or maybe you know of someone who has been there before in the International Space Station, and maybe you've watched a documentary, read a book, whatever it is. I read a book, and I realized not long ago that we have to work out every single day in space. And the book's right there, Endurance by Scott Kelly, who was sent up into the International Space Station. He was documenting and highlighting kind of just his life up there. And one of the things I noticed is he had to work out a lot. And he was very specific about why. The reason was because if he doesn't work out for a whole year, he might not be able to fight the effects of gravity when he gets back. Because the reason is that he would lose bone density, muscle mass, and muscle strength, especially functional strength, just by being in a zero gravity force field for years. A year. And so not having gravity is a big problem. And so he had to work out. He's got like a picture where he's got like this belt that holds him down while he can exercise and do movement. And the reason is because he has to stimulate his muscles because he doesn't have the effects of gravity pulling him down and giving him the opportunity to be able to resist that force. That's the big gravity complex here is you get old when your body is not going against and able to resist the fight that gravity is pulling. Because think about it, at 30 right now, getting up out of a chair, walking a mile, having to do 100 things in my day, having a 12, 14-hour day where I could be on my feet and then sitting, picking things up. I'm a personal trainer. I'm a health coach. I work in a medical clinic. I'm doing a lot of things throughout my day. At 80, I might not be able to do that much. But if I can't, the reason is because I can't fight gravity as well as I did when I was 33 because I wasn't as strong. So if you're older and you're listening to this, or if you don't want to get older, aka aging inactively, one thing you have to understand is you are going to fight gravity till the day you die. And eventually you will lose. We all inevitably lose to gravity, and we just have to succumb to that. Hopefully, it's not until your last year or 2 or maybe 3 years of your entire existence. Most people I work with, and a lot of people you see above the age of 70 or 80, their marginal decade or their last 10 years is not very pleasurable. It's not very fun. I don't think they find a ton of enjoyment about it. They contemplate their own mortality 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, every single minute of every day. And one of those reasons is because a lot of them aren't in a position where moving is easy. So they do have a lot of time sitting to be able to contemplate their own life or death because of that issue of not having any energy. So if you're worried about not having energy now because you're elderly or older on the age scale. If you're worried about not having energy now when you're younger or when you're older, the thing you have to realize is we have to have muscle mass, strength, and bone density to be able to counter the effects of gravity. Think about it. If you could squat 300 pounds one time, getting up out of a chair would be pretty easy. But if you could hardly pick up your own body weight and you haven't done so in a long time, getting up out of a chair might be the one thing that you're hoping to do today. I work with a lot of memory care unit folks and patients that they are unable to do much else than get them standing. Standing is their workout. Standing is one of the events of the day. And it takes a lot out of a person who is losing the war on gravity. So this is a tool that we can kind of use and think about. But if you're older, especially elderly, beyond 60 and 70, we have to make sure our movements, especially when we're doing specific movement like exercise, we're reversing the effects of gravity by making sure that we are in control of our limbs and of our body in physical space. Because we have the option, as I tell my dementia unit folks, that the leg can just drop or the arm can just drop. But if we're going to bring the arm up, we also have the option of controlling how fast that arm goes down. But because it can drop, we know gravity works, but we have to be winning the war against gravity. And that's one of the best ways to do that. Now, if you are older and you're watching this and you're nervous of the mental as well as the physical, as I remind my memory care unit patients all of the time, you lose it if you're not working with it. So if you don't use your body, you lose access to it. So all you have to do is move and you'll get access to your body. Well, if you're moving your body and you're doing it in a challenging way, just like a lot of my memory care folks also do arts and crafts, you're challenging the mind. So even some basic movements like some wrist circles are very difficult for somebody in a memory care unit. And one of the best things is for them to focus on doing it better. Why? You're upping the brain-derived neurotrophic factor, the BDNF, but you're also establishing a phase of neuroplasticity, which means your brain is working overtime to try to learn this movement and to try to remember what signal to send and to try to actually send it faster, stronger, and more efficient. One useful example for that is neuropathy. If you have neuropathy, if you know somebody that has neuropathy, or if you just know what it is, most people lose the ability to feel their feet and they get neuropathy in their feet first or their fingers. And the reason is because that signal, the blood flow and the signal as well sent from the brain to these areas starts to dissipate. It starts to slow down, and then eventually it doesn't make it all the way down there. And that's where we get neuropathy in the hands and the feet, is because the signal is coming from the brain to the very farthest part of the region. Now, one of those reasons is that signal dissipates, it becomes inefficient, it slows down, and then it doesn't have the strength to make it all the way. And so you start to lose feeling entirely, and it can become painful, which is why there's the cases of neuropathy. But that's an example of why we have to move our body, and why moving our body and paying attention to our movements by getting better actually helps the neuroplasticity phase of learning. And so whether your brain would get better, hopefully it does, by practicing these movements, even doing arts and crafts, and engaging in something challenging. Whether it made you better, I hope it does, but we do know that it's a neuroprotectant, which means that engaging in challenging activities such as exercise and learning new movements absolutely helps delay further brain aging from where you're at. And as I remind all of the patients that I work with, especially my memory care unit folks who do not feel very good, who do not have a wonderful quality of life, I like to feel good right now. And I bet you do too. And one of the best and easiest ways that I work on feeling better right now is to move the body. So, if you want to avoid losing the war against gravity, if you don't want to get old, which is aging inactively, and you want to live a better quality of life today and in your marginal decade, hopefully in your 90s or 100 or 120, if some of you are very good genetics and very good with your lifestyle, I really hope that you move the body. And until I catch you next time, make sure you subscribe, make sure you comment some things that you'd like to hear in future videos, and make sure you tell everybody to follow me. I'll catch you next time, guys.